Hey y'all. Okay, this video is by request. Someone asked me to speak about the Kanye new album, Jesus is King. And what do I think about it? And what do I think about people saying that he's crazy or he's fake or he's just doing this for publicity, blah, 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 blah. What do I think about it? Well, I think he's a genius, first of all. Hi. I think everything in that album and in those songs is super coded. And the Bible is coded naturally, so the songs are going to be coded. I think in all the interviews that he's been doing lately, they're super coded, which is why you'll catch him pausing to think about what he's trying to say in code. So I'm not looking at it from the view of most people who don't understand code or things like that. I'm looking at it from people from the perspective of the code. Now, that's the only way I see things now. I can't see it any other way. So I can't look at it any other way. So when I encounter people that can't see it through the code, but only see it through the mundane way, then I feel like, we're on two different pages. Okay, yeah, but y'all get it. Good. So that's how I feel about it, because a lot of people were commenting and that are not fully aware of how to decode. They were commenting some things, and I feel that when you speak and don't know something, it will come back to make you look silly later on, which is why it's best to see what this person is actually doing before you make a judgment. Thank you, Aaron. Can you help me break an odor curse or show me how? What's an odor curse? A curse of smelling bad? Deodorant, baby. Like, go vegan. You won't smell bad, I promise you. Okay. Another thing is, he's trying to bring awareness to what these things really mean to the mundane people of the world, because he's highly influential. So if what he's saying is not, like in the beginning of a few of his songs, is a lot of code. People are going to try to figure that out. People are going to look into that. And eventually the code is going to become clearer and clearer as more people or more albums come out that drop this code over and over and over. And so then you'll have people explaining it like me, and people are going to wake up eventually. So this is kind of like a whisper, or, that first alarm going off in the morning before you hit it to get to the second alarm. It's kind of like that. And then to where you can't stay in the bed anymore. You got to wake up. So it's kind of like that. And that interview that I posted on my community section of him speaking about his factory and growing the cotton and the fabrics and all that kind of stuff, that whole conversation from 11 minutes and 11 seconds on to the couple of minutes is about actually mixing and getting the right seed and the right dye and the right coloring and the right this and the right that. He's speaking about race mixing in code, but he's using fabric and dye to put it out there. So there's another part in there where he talks about so much other things, the time loop. Talks about we're stuck in a loop and we got to get out, and A, B, C, and D. So everything he's saying goes with what we already know on this channel. And so I know he ain't crazy. I know he's trying to tell people, but he can't come out and say it straight up like I can, because he has too much influence over many types of people. And if they click and get it, then they cannot blame him or point the finger at him to say, well, he's this and he's that, or he thinks this. And, if you click and you get it, it's you know? So if you click and understand the code, then it's your understanding. He did not say anything that was against anyone. He just put it in a certain way for you to eventually figure it out. Okay. And what made me upset is that his interview with the British guy versus his video with the DJ dude was totally different. You could tell Kanye was more comfortable and at peace because the British guy actually listened to him without judgment. While, his own people is sitting there just uncomfortable. And, oh, I'm gonna agree to disagree. Like, we didn't ask, like he said in the interview, well, I don't care if you agree with me or not. I didn't ask you. And that's the whole point when it comes to a community or a group of people or a culture. They feel like everyone has to agree with you or be on the same page as you or have the same opinion as you, as if you're one stereotype. I rebuke that. It would be the equivalent of being a robot. So just because you're this way, just because you look a certain way, don't mean you are a certain way. Because like he said, who made it that way? That wasn't your original culture. So you said I rebuke it, right? Right. So your original culture has nothing to do with how you believe, what you believe, and how you handle your business. Spirituality is a personal path, not a group path. It's more personal, family oriented, right? So I think Kanye is going in the right direction. He's getting paid. I'm sure his album hit #1 already. He's getting a lot of attention. He had his IMAX movie, Jesus is King out. It's on the internet now, and he's a genius on how he does things. He's very smart. I think what happens to him is that he's trying to convey a message, and people are so emotional they can't allow the message to sink in or to open their eyes. They're so defensive against a culture who it's not even theirs. Okay. You are defending something that was thrown to you as scraps. You defended some scraps on a paper plate on the floor. So the way that I feel about it is listen to people, listen to what they say. Stop trying to defend something that does not benefit you whatsoever, and figure out how to benefit yourself. Oh, and that's it, So I think that's all he's trying to do. He's trying to let people know, get your money. Don't let a culture stereotype hold you back from having real wealth. You're trained to accept scraps and you're defending it. So stop doing that. All right. Chance the Rapper's doing the same thing. Really? Wow. I think it's going to be a lot of people going to start doing that. Sure, what do I think about the color theory of the deep indigo blue in contrast to the Trump blood red? Purple rain. Purple rain. Purple rain. The merge, baby. The mix. The ascension. Sasha's writing music now with code. I can't even believe her. Oh my gosh, like she is such a genius already. she comes home from school. She's supposed to be in school doing schoolwork. I came up with some new lyrics today. So when she gets in the car, she writes it down. Um, and then like I'm decoding this Bible scripture book, and it says something about the palm of your hand or something. And I was like, oh look, there's melanin or melanin in the palm of my hand. And she said, yeah, M for melanin. M. I was like, Sasha is like blowing my mind. Right. Anyway. And then Layla surprisingly comes in and gives us some coded lyrics too. I knew she knew it. She just playing silly. She just playing like she don't know. So Sasha was, spitting some lyrics, and then Layla comes in with another lyric that's coded. I was like, Layla, I knew you always knew. You were just playing like you didn't. I know you know. I said, you have to. You live in this house. So Sasha listened to the Kanye album, and she says, Mommy, I can write good like that too. So I said, well, you never know. Write down your lyrics. You could be the next person to sell, ghostwrite for somebody, or be the next child rapper. I don't know, but just get it out. So anyway, so I think what Kanye's doing is very interesting, and it's going to be cool how it all unfolds. Very cool how it all unfolds. Like, he's telling you stuff without telling you stuff. He's doing things as an example. Okay. He's doing things as an example. Okay. Why, listen to me, you guys. Why do you think all these people are getting their own things? Why do you think movie studios are coming up? People are trying to own their own everything, their own farm, their own, what he calls, factories and stuff. Why do you think they're trying to do this right now? Like right now. Like why not like 5 years ago or 7 years ago? But why right now? Uh-huh. I think the flood is coming. Right. The solar flares, there's a lot of things that are saying that if you can't sustain yourself, and I'm not speaking about like disaster or anything. I'm speaking about mental clarity. I'm speaking about mental clarity. If this solar energy comes in and wreaks havoc on other people's mental, why do you think they're bringing forth mental illness a lot? Because it's getting ready to be a big thing. As these solar flares and these radiation, UVB radiations come in, it's going to affect people mentally who don't have a lot of melanin. So we have to have our own, or we have to be able to take over and know how to use, whatever needs to be done, because things are good. Bird Box, basically. Y'all seen Bird Box because of Bird Box. A frequency, if it cannot be matched, the stronger one wins out. Okay. So I think it was Roseanne Barr. She was like, it's going to be like Planet of the Apes. Then, if y'all haven't seen the new version of Planet of the Apes, I think there was 3 of them. I don't know. But she's the one that was saying that it's going to be like Planet of the Apes, when all the humans went dumb and the apes got smart. So that's why JayZ made that song Ape. Like, He said he'd pull up to the zoo and free all his people, just like they did on Planet Earth. Anyway, so the reason why is because a lot of people are getting ready to not be their sharpest, and DNA activation and then DNA damage is being done at the same time to different people. That's why the push to mix DNA in order to save your DNA if you are less melanated is really a hot thing right now in the media, in the blah, 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 blah. And if you never saw my video about Jesus and how that name actually breaks down to I am, like JayZ is spelled almost the same way as Jesus, except there's an I in it. So it means I am. And then when Kanye puts it on his album cover and it says, I am king, that's what he's saying. I am king. So he's still the same Kanye, but not the same Kanye. He just realized that he has to say it in a different way. Okay? He's still the same Kanye, but in code. So that would be the equivalent to me putting, like if I came out with an album and I would put, Jesus is the best. That would say I am the best to me because I know the code. Right. I am is an Egyptian proverb meaning the sun, right? The son of God, the actual sun, the plasma, the electromagnetic frequencies, plasmas. Break it down scientifically, verbally, in different languages, break down the etymology. It's still all going to say the same thing. I am this. And, right. It's not one person, it's a people. So Jesus is not one person, it's a group of people. And so a Jesus, like if you read in the Bible, it says that Jesus or this Jesus. That means there's more than one, which means it's a type of person or a type of people. The great I am. And be one with the great I am. Spirit. Sasha can get that note. Yeah. And if you read the Bible, you need the blood of Christ. Christ means melanated, anointed with what? Oil. What is oil? What did they use oil for back in the days? A lamp. What is the lamp? The pineal gland. Melanin is the oil in the lamp. Most people's, they did a study a long time ago during one of the world wars, and they noticed the difference between Black soldiers and white soldiers, that their pineal glands were not calcified like the white soldiers were. So you can go look that up. It's a record. So the melanated, the I am anointed, the Jesus Christ is I am anointed with melanin. That's all it means, decoded. Okay. And the time loop that Kanye talks about that we're stuck in is how long it's going to take until everyone becomes one. I am. Until everybody becomes Christ-like. Okay. So we're stuck in a loop until everybody's brown. That's it. No child left behind. Here you go. And when Jesus says the children need to come unto me, that he doesn't mean the literal children. He means the children of us. The children of mankind, the youngest people on the planet, like the youngest race on the planet. So Everything is in code in the Bible. And if you know hermetics, if you know alchemy, if you know science, quantum, a little bit, you don't even have to know a lot. If you know any of that, you can see all of this without judgment. And it's just, they can't just come out and say it. Imagine if someone got on CNN News and said this. Wouldn't work out. It has to come from people like me and smaller influencers. It can't come from a big influencer. It has to come from a smaller influencer, many smaller influencers. Because with great power comes great responsibility. And since their power is greater than mine, as far as influence, they have to be responsible of the havoc that they cause and how people react to that on a grand scale. Just like if there were a meteor headed towards Earth, they couldn't get on the news and tell you, but they can ask Neil deGrasse Tyson to speak about meteors and answer questions about meteors to get you to understand things about meteors, but they cannot come straight out and tell you things because you would freak out because you're not emotionally stable enough to grasp a lot of information at one time. So they kind of put it on you slowly, and then the volume starts getting higher on the issue. And then sooner or later, they're going to start showing you in a roundabout way until it's like those spray clouds. Oh yeah, we've been doing that for years. So, years ago, people called people crazy that say, oh, they're making the weather, or they're spraying stuff. Now they've admitted it. So guess who's crazy now, huh? Okay. So yeah. So I think Kanye is that first little major step in the direction to release this information. I say in about 5 years, it's going to be well known. And as that happens, you're going to start to see a shift in power and treatment and consciousness and how people carry themselves and how people, aim to aspire towards, wealth and greater things. Because once you really know who and what you are, that's the key. That's why his album cover is a keyhole. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people need to know the truth. It will stop a lot of things. But like Sasha's actually writing a rap on the whole thing that's, the truth that's hidden and why it needs to be told. Sasha, want to come do your rap? She'll do it when she's more prepared. She's on her phone. We'll get it together. We'll put it out for y'all soon. We have Kanye Smart, a musical genius, but confusing. I peeped the album, but he's confusing. There's nothing confusing about him. He is dropping straight up code. Like the code is probably confusing. He's very smart, and he cannot say stuff straight out because people would turn against him in a quick heartbeat. They already have mostly, but he cannot say what the truth is in a way that I can. But he can drop it in code. Right. Kanye seems crazy to you? No, he's frustrated. I understand his frustration as someone very awake and having to explain over and over to grown men who's older than him. You know what I'm saying? So it's very frustrating to be in a world alone with a bunch of sleep people. That's how Michael Jackson felt. Pretty sure that's how Prince felt. I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of you guys felt who are really awake. And it's very frustrating to have to try to explain something using code because you have to keep certain things under wraps because of your level of influence. It is very hard. Yes, you will look crazy. If I couldn't come out and say what I needed to say, I would look crazy too. So it's very hard. It's very hard, especially if you're just not able to just say what you really want to say. But you have to figure out how to say it in code before you can answer it. And when some people are trying to think of things to say, they stutter around a little bit. They change the topic until they get the idea in their head, and they switch subjects so that they can get their idea together, and then they can answer your question. That's all he's doing. He's not someone that can just spit code off the top of their head. Right. He's shaking up the masses. Some people have a spiritual IQ, right? So his spiritual IQ and code, maybe he's working on that. You can tell now because he pauses and he goes like this. He's thinking of code words to say what he wants to say. Because that's what I do sometimes. like when we were trying to write lyrics, and I'm like, what's a code word for this? And Sasha and I will go like this, for like pause for like 20 seconds, and then we'll come up with it. That's how you have to do when you're trying to speak in code on the spot in a live interview. If it was a movie, if it was cut and scripted, it would not sound crazy. It would sound genius. Okay. But when you're on the spot and you got to put stuff in code, imagine how hard that is. If you're new and you can barely decode a video or a song or a commercial, imagine how hard it is to answer a question in code. That's why Donald Trump's speeches are so bad, because half of those are in code as well. And then I was reading the little Bible scripture thing, and it talks about Moses. Now Moses was interesting because I don't think he was brown. I think Moses was not brown. Moses was like not brown, but he was sent to do some work. Okay. Grew up with Pharaoh. Grew up rich. Think about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. What are your thoughts on Kanye and JayZ's relationship being broken in the media? I think their relationship is not really, really broken. I think it's broken because he needed to have his own attention on this specific thing. And I think it was broken on purpose so they can stop comparing them to each other. And I think it was broken on purpose for him to have his own voice without being in a shadow of a JayZ. You know what I'm saying? And it's very smart because he has a role to play. Okay. JayZ is the business side. He's the hustle side. He's that strong arm. And Kanye is the artistic side. And Kanye is the side that's going to take you through an emotional roller coaster with him to get you to see through his perspective. Believe it or not. So he's the person that is going to, play the sacrificial role. And JayZ is going to strong arm it from the other side, from the financial side. So I'm pretty sure their friendship is not really broken. It's probably just for the media so that their focuses can be on two different places. Because every time you do an interview, what do they ask? Well, how's Kanye? Well, how's JayZ? Well, when are you going to work together again? That's not the focus right now. So they have to separate. you know. Hmm. Okay. Again, thank you for this line. Oh, you're welcome. The art of war, right? Distractions is the art of war. You know, when you have a mass group of people that are asleep, it is easy to infiltrate and influence them on on a strong level. And it's also easy to fool a lot of other people too who maybe are not in the know of certain things. So this has been playing for a while. Go back and listen to their music. This has been playing for a while. There's this song by Jay-Z and Kanye and some other dude, and it tells you. Oh, hold on. Let me see if I can find it. The name of that song. It was on Kanye's album. I think it's his first album, and it was called. Hold on, let me look it up. Never Let Me Down or something like that. Yeah, Never Let Me Down. Go listen to Never Let Me Down. Okay. Church in the Wild. No Church in the Wild, right? Um, but the song I was speaking of is Never Let Me Down. That is super deep. Mhm. Look up the lyrics as well. But so yeah, so he's not crazy. He's dropping code. He's trying to let people know what's up, what's going on, who's who, and eventually he's just gonna come straight out and say it in one of his albums, just like the old Kanye will. So his chaotic album, the which one, the Yeezus album, I don't remember the name of it, where he was saying, I am a God. That that album represented the egotistical part, saying the egotistical things that he's gonna say in this in a humble way through another person's, through another perspective. So that same album is exactly what he's saying in this album, but in a more humble way. He say, I am a God, hurry up with my damn massage. You know. Um, over here he's saying Jesus is king, which means I am king, you know. Um, and I only work for Jesus now. That means I only work for me. I only work for I am. He's not under, I don't want to be under contracts. I only work for me now. That's what he's saying. So that's what he's saying. The song is called Never Let Me Down. Okay. And the other song I'm talking about was I Am a God. I Am a God. That was the name of his song on the Yeezus album. Right. Hurry up, my croissant. Right. Um, and so that one was like the chaotic version of this one. It was all out of order. The music, the tempo was like very, this is the bipolar version of that album. Okay. Do you think Beyonce really doesn't like Kim? I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I don't live there. I would bet more money on girls not liking girls versus guys not liking guys. 'Cause mhm. Okay. So that's what I think of his album. I didn't go see it in IMAX. I knew it was going to be online next week, so I didn't even bother to get up and go through all that hoopla. But I do understand what he did. The song he did with Kenny G was also genius. Let me tell you why. That horn, that frequency that they put out in the crowd with that horn represents the walls of Jericho being shattered with a certain frequency or a certain melody or harmony using those instruments. So the Kenny G aspect of that whole song was like it's almost a healing sound. It's a healing frequency that was put out into the crowd, soothing, you know, because what he was talking about how Sunday we're closed or closed on Sunday. He's saying the system makes it to where you have to leave your family and go out into traffic and be distracted and spend time away from your family. That was also code for um, the system makes it so that you have to be around different types of people so that you're tempted to stray from your family or cheat or be with this type of person. Da da da. Yeah, the Chick-fil-A song. So what he was saying is separation from your family causes you to stray away from the frequency of being one. You know what I'm saying? And then he talks about his addiction and why it's very coded. Like he's saying when he saw a Playboy magazine when he was 5 years old, it messed him up and that was his addiction. And that's why he's with the type of the lifestyle he has and probably the woman he has. And da 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 da, because of traffic being put into a vulnerable position and seeing something that you weren't supposed to see, at a young age. So looking at, Playboy magazine and then growing up with that mentality since 5 years old, I need a Kim Kardashian type woman because I've been looking at this type of woman since I was 5 years old. So he talked about that as well. hmm Um, mm. So he puts it out there subtly. You just have to catch it. You have to be able to observe and stop. The way that you can catch everything is to stop judging. Just honestly, just get rid of those emotions and listen to the code. And so many people cannot do this to save their life. Like if you had to decode something to save your life and it was by someone who triggered you, you would be dead. Okay? That is the trick. To hide the code in people that trigger you. Okay? Um I know if I was trying to hide code, I would make sure it was hidden with people that trigger you. Um, Richard Cole asks, is being gay wrong? I don't know what's wrong. There's no wrong or right. There's only left and right. You know what I'm saying? Think about that for a second. There's only left and right. Laughing brings joy, right? Like I don't judge anybody. Shoot, I'm trying to get y'all to stop judging so y'all can see the code. Um, when you stop judging, the veil lifts. You see everything for what it truly is. And I think that's what people have to stop doing, because you are in a world where people judge you left and right, and then you start judging everything because you're being judged every day. But if you stop, you can see so many more things. hmm Um, when I see a gay person, a trans person, or anything, I see the code in it straight up. I don't see, oh, anything to judge. I just see straight up code. Um, like I broke it down about the spirits and how we come back and how we reincarnate and all that kind of stuff and blah 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 blah. And the dark energy is feminine energy, and if you're around certain thing for a while and you grew up in an environment and something happened to you, da da da, it doesn't matter. What is your mind like? You know, do you vibrate on a higher frequency? Do you understand this code? I could care less what you do in the bedroom. I don't care. I could care less if, I could care less. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't make a difference to me. 'Cause, as long as you are good with you. Right. Um, and if you've been living in an environment for so long and things have happened to you and people have been affected by other people, by other people, by other people, ancestor after ancestor, it's not your fault for being influenced in any sort of way. So you definitely are not going to be judged for that. I can tell you that. And when I say judged, I mean no one is going to judge you for something that you could not escape. I'll say that. Yeah, escape. There you go. There. So that's how I see it. hmm Yep, water. Thank you. It's hard to see your point, even though I agree. Well, here's the thing, you've been programmed to judge when the only judge is your frequency. Okay. The only judge is your own frequency, nobody else's. So if a gay person has a high frequency, they got some good old you melanin in them, and they have a high frequency, they good, baby. No matter what you've been taught, they're good. No matter what. So that's just what it is. If anyone who's against it, it means if you are emotionally triggered by something, ask yourself why. Why do you care if somebody is gay? Get into it psychologically. Why do you really care? Because somebody told you to care, that it was somebody told you it was wrong, somebody told you it was bad. If they never told you, would you have cared? Think about it. hmm So if no one ever told you something was bad, and you've been in an environment so long that forced it basically upon you, just like judging people is forced upon you in Christianity. You can't help it. Are you going to be judged for being judged? The same way you judge someone, you will also be judged. And I'm not saying judged as far as God. I'm saying other people are going to judge you for judging them. Because I don't judge anybody because I understand why people judge, because they're forced into an environment that forces them to judge. That's it. They're forced into a belief system that forces them to judge. They're forced into an environment that forces them to feel a certain way, you know. So I can't judge anybody because I don't know how they grew up. I don't know what their parents were like. I don't know what their grandparents, uncles, cousins, aunts were like. I can't sit there and judge anybody because I don't walk in their shoes, and I never would judge anybody. If the only way I would ever judge someone is if, um, you know, it has to do personally with a situation that I have to make a decision upon right then and there. But, you know, in general, I can't judge anybody. hmm If you don't agree with something, that's your right. Like, honestly, I don't agree with a lot of things, but I would never judge somebody for it. I just ain't gonna do it. You know, you don't have to do it to not, you don't have to do a thing, but you can understand or you can not judge. Right. We all have free will. Exactly. Are they trying to overthrow religion? All religion worships melanin. You melanin. They're trying to tell the truth about religion instead of hiding it because the image was switched a long time ago from what it truly used to be into what it looks like now. So, right. So, yeah, religion would be a whole nother story if they had not switched the image. Think about this. Okay, let me tell y'all how switching the image is messed up. In 100 years from now, no, 200 years from now, if they got rid of all the old pictures of Michael Jackson, let me tell you how this works. They got rid of all the pictures of Michael Jackson before the Dangerous album and said this is the greatest entertainer of all time. What would you think? Would you be mad? Matrix is in the Bible. So to switch the image is what made religion messed up. That's what made it messed up. Because they have the children leading the parents. And if you've ever lived in a household where the children run the household, it's a mess. It's a mess. hmm They're gonna paint them. They're gonna stick a blonde wig on his head next too, right? Give him blue eye. And so once the image was switched, that's when religion went downhill. And that's that. Um, the children run the house. No, I'm talking about like literally running the household, telling your parents to shut up and cussing them out, and y'all know the type of household. Okay. Um, right. Religion breeds illness and schizophrenia. Yes, because it's in code, and if you force someone to believe something literal that's meant to be a metaphor, of course it's going to cause mental illness. That's why I would never let my children read the Bible or even hear Bible stories until they were old enough to understand how to decode it. My kids have not read the Bible yet. They've read little snippets of it, as we decode it, but they will never read something that they cannot understand. They will never take something literal that's not meant to be taken literally. Okay. Um, I'm not from, I'm not able to shove something down my children's throats that they can't understand, that I wouldn't understand, and make them believe it as fact when it is metaphor. I'm not one of them people. I'm too smart. My IQ too high for that. So until you can truly understand something, you don't need to force it on other people. Some people don't even understand what they read and force it down other people's throats. You're gonna read this Bible, but you don't even know what you're reading. So I spoke to a pastor of a church one time, and my mom was like, "Well, she don't really go to church anymore. She was talking about me to him. Well, she doesn't go to church anymore. She don't really believe in all of that. Why don't you talk to her?" Why did she say that? I gave him the look. I was like, I already figured out what religion is and what the Bible really says. So I don't think I need to go to church anymore. And I knew he knew too. So he just looked at me like, oh, okay. He did not try to get me back because he already saw the look in my eye that I already figured it out. He's like, plus he was a Freemason. So we already know. Come in. Who is that?
Me.
Come on. What's up?
Mom, I want to reheat the gumbo. There's no more left, baby. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make some more tomorrow. Okay.
Love you. We made vegan gumbo, and she liked it. How old was I? I was in my 30s. Yeah. So he knew that I knew. So there was no conversation. The gig is up. The jig is up, basically. So he said, God ain't real. Dark energy, dark matter, the energy that flows through everything, the collective consciousness of everything is what most people would consider God. So, not a person. Oh yeah, Joe Osteen knows. Oh yeah, all the pastors that are in those organizations, the Freemasons and all the mega church pastors, they know. It's a business to them. They know. hmm Can I review the Gift album? Oh, that whole album is coded. Yeah. The Lion King soundtrack from Beyonce. It's not super coded though. It's like you can understand it. Right. God is not a person. God is a frequency. There you go. God is a frequency. And if you can get on a similar frequency, then you're godlike. That's just it. One of the Kanye songs, I can't remember which one it was, but when he says, "When I look up to the night sky, I see God," talking about the dark energy. It's on the new album. I can't remember which song it was. Let me look. Just go listen to the whole thing. I don't know. So he's talking about the frequency, the dark energy, the dark matter in the sky. That is what he is referring to in one of the songs. He's like, "I look up in the night sky and I see God." How much clearer can that get? Right. You said God is blasphemous. Dark energy is not blasphemous. God is not a person. It would be a frequency. The dark energy, the dark plasma, the thing that's in everything, the thing that can pass through anything. The fourth state of matter going so fast that it can't be seen. It's called darkness. That's what it is. The source of all of that, right? So, mhm, you said gay is wrong. That's simple. Well, so is being a liar. So is being a thief. So is having premarital sex. So is cheating. So is coveting thy neighbor's wife. Get a line, baby. You know what I'm saying? Everything is wrong. That's not right. But how's your frequency? Okay. I see sure when I look into the night sky. Oh, thank you. um, so we can't judge people. It might be wrong to you, but what you do might be wrong to them. You know, what's wrong to me may be right to you. You know, I think it's wrong for a woman to have children out of wedlock. And but you sitting over here judging the gay person who ain't got no kids out of no wedlock. And you know, so we can point fingers all day, but what is your frequency like? Right? hmm So, you know, in the story of Jesus, Mary was basically um, a single mother that had a boyfriend or another husband who wasn't the baby's daddy. If you take it literally, but that was a figurative story. The whole point is we can't point the finger at people because we have been taught something is wrong. Everything on this planet is a temptation. What was yours? You know, everything on this planet is um, a trap. What did you fall into? You know, so we can't judge people no matter what. What is your frequency like? Right. So even though you think it's wrong, it's okay to think that's wrong. Somebody else thinks how your life is wrong as well. So we're free to have our own thoughts for sure. Mhm. Mhm. I haven't seen Maleficent yet. I really don't go to the movies that much anymore unless it's just something I have to see. Mhm. Uh, okay. So, are you lesbian? Nope. I have a husband and two children, but I don't down anybody because I've done wrong in my life that I could be judged for plenty times. But ain't nobody gonna point the finger at me. Mm. Y'all wanna know what I did? I stole somebody else's husband. Is that worse than being lesbian? I committed adultery. I stole somebody's husband. I lied, stole. I did everything in there except for murder. I didn't broke it. I didn't broke. I'm still alive. I can still get that murder down. Don't break in my house. So I'm just being honest. Okay. I am honest. I'm not trying to hide it. Like, I'm proud of my stuff. I'm proud of understanding that um, I can laugh at it now. I'm laughing at it like, that was the old me. That was funny. Ha, ha, ha. And I do it again too. Why? Because it got me to this point. I would have never grown into this person unless I had done those things. You got to fall before you can rise. You got to descend before you can ascend. That's spiritual. That's alchemy. Someone who is afraid to live and don't know the spectrum of free will never really live. They'll just sit there and judge other people for living the life that they can't live. So that's what for real. Just think about it. People that judge you the most are the most unhappy because they're not out there doing what you're doing, but they sitting there judging everything you do, vicariously living through you. So I didn't steal him. You're right. He left because he wanted to, but most people would say I stole him. So that's what the judges would say. Do you think the Kardashians are succubi? Most people that have a lower frequency that are around people of higher frequency are succubi or incubi. So it depends on who they're around. That's the male version. Incubus. Multiple of incubus. I would say he was already leaving. Yeah. So basically, I've done so much things in my life, and there are people out here who are being judged far worse because of their orientation versus me. I've done broke every sin, law, whatever, except murder. Okay, but I'm not sitting up here being cursed and judged. Y'all are picky. Y'all are choosy Christians. Y'all just be so choosy. So if you're gonna point the finger at them, you gotta point the finger at me too, because I didn't mess up. But then you gotta think about it. Are the sins coded? Yep, they are. Okay. So if we're gonna judge on a mundane level, we need to, because we're judging on mundane meanings of sin. The coded meaning of sin, you would laugh. Okay, so thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. Yeah, okay, that's obvious. But thou shalt not commit adultery. What does that mean? What does that really mean? What is adultery? Premarital sex? Sex as an adult? What does that mean? Sleeping with someone else's wife? What does that mean? Break it down. Adulting. But anyway, so as long as your frequency is good, as long as Jesus forgives you, as long as you are reborn through the blood of Christ, your sins are forgiven. You know what that means, right? As long as you are reborn in a higher frequency body, your sins are forgiven. Because sins represent how certain people acted and what they did, what was their culture, and what they did versus what you did as a culture prior to being put in a unfamiliar place. Okay. So if you take a group of people out of their own culture and stick them in another culture and have their teachers teach them things and they watch these people do these things and they start to emulate it. That is what sin is. Because sin represents the actions of those who are sinners. And if you been watching my video, a sinner is someone who um, is pale like the moon. Okay, because sin means moon, or it also means without in Latin. So you have the sun and the moon. So sin is actions that are from a culture of pale people. So if you've been taken out of your culture and given another culture, but you kept your covering, as they would call it, your armor of God, as what they would call it, then all your sins upon death are forgiven. Because you had no choice but to be put in that environment. You had no choice. Right. So that's what sin is to me. Like, sin is basically unfamiliar stuff to your original culture that you were thrown into. And as long as you kept your frequency high, you good, baby. You're good. No, go look up the etymology. Okay. Go look up the etymology of sin. Go look up the Latin meaning of sin. You have to decode these words. Go look up a moon. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson was dropping code on his last video with Chuck when he said, because his wife is Caucasian, right? He says, I love me some moon. And like, then they were talking about their wives. Cinderella, exactly. So the moon, pale like the moon, represents, they would call them sinner. And this is why Kanye cannot say this, because could you imagine? Evil is live spelled backwards. Live. The only thing that lives forever or that's eternal is a soul. So an evil person would be someone with no soul. If you put evil in a mirror, it says live. So evil represents the opposite of alive. It means the dead. The Evil Dead. The movie The Evil Dead. Okay. So when they say evil, reverse the word evil. It means dead. Okay? The dead. The dead. When they talk about the dead, they just mean people with no soul. Okay? Night of the Living Dead. That's all code. That whole title of the movie is code. Okay. And Mandy is up in here and she's always talking about Christ and Jesus, but she has no idea what it really means because she's been brainwashed. And so no matter how many Bible verses you've read, Mandy, no matter how many times you've been to church, no matter how many times you have prayed for somebody, no matter all the good deeds you have done in the name of the Lord, you have not done them in the name of the Lord because you are not in the name of the Lord, period. Mandy. She's like our resident troll. And I hope that she gets it. She's over here trying to save people. We trying to save her for her to understand the truth. So, Mandy, you are not in Christ. You are not in Christos. They lied to you, Mandy. your church, the images that they gave you was a lie. They lied to you to make you feel and think that you were going to be okay. Because wouldn't you want someone to do that? And then, the whole point is you're not living in the word, because the word represents this. You are not living in the Christos, which also represents this. You are not living. Now, the only thing you can do, Mandy, is accept that and understand it and tell other people. That's the only way that you're going to raise your frequency enough from maybe somebody to give you a ride up out of here. Maybe. Okay. Right. Right. But right. Mandy, you are living in sin, Mandy. You don't see that? Go look in the mirror. And there's nothing wrong with living in sin as long as you understand how to get out of sin. That's the whole thing Kanye West is teaching. Do this, become family, become family, Mandy. You gotta get in the family. So, uh-huh. I need to correct my colored viewers. You mean my righteous viewers, Mandy? I need to correct my righteous viewers. Let me decode what Mandy is trying to say. Ashira, you need to correct your righteous viewers on the spelling of Layla's name. Layla means dark beauty, right? Mandy, I know you didn't know that, but Layla's name means dark beauty or the night. Okay, so I will tell my righteous viewers that there are several ways to spell Layla. Thank you. Y'all know she's a troll. She said color, I'd block her. Well, I'm not emotionally triggered by ignorance. I corrected her. Did you see? I said, you mean righteous. What good is it to block when you're supposed to correct? What good is it to be triggered if you don't control what triggers you? I'm the true I'm the true version of not reacting. You have to learn how to do that. Nothing can trigger me until I can trigger it first. You know what I'm saying? If I don't trigger them, I didn't do my job. So I just corrected her. Okay. Yeah, she said colored. I said righteous. Same thing. The blacks in Africa are so much godlier. Of course they are. They have a higher frequency. Duh. Imagine, okay, so you think the Africans are so much more godlier than us. Imagine how we see y'all, Mandy. Oh, I love Africans. My Sasha's best friend is African, or her mom and dad are. Hmm. Hmm. African Christians have rejected demon worship. Of course they have. Why would they worship something that they're greater than? Okay. Um, Poor Mandy. She's gonna be like, that movie Left Behind? That's gonna be Mandy. I thought I was going. You ain't going nowhere. What the? The pastors in Africa would not stand for your lies, nor for the pastors in the Caribbean. If I decoded it to them, they sure would. They would love me even more if I sit down and decoded this to them instead of lying to them like y'all. No. I'm not going to go over there and claim, oh, you're going to be rich if you worship white Jesus. No, I'm going to go over there and say, do you know that Jesus was black? And it means I am melanated. And they done lied to you and they done flipped the script on you. Did you know that? That's what I go and tell them. And they'd probably be more for me. Okay. Bye, Mandy. I would tell them the truth. I wouldn't be lying to them to steal their land. Okay. I'm not going to lie to nobody to steal their land. Or their mind. So I'm going to go tell them the truth and we'll see who they defend. So Shira is the crystalline conscious. Oh. I'm going to go fix what y'all messed up. That's what I would go do. Mandy. Utter lies from Alchemy of Life. Poor thing. I know you know better, Mandy. I know you're just playing at this point. You have to know now. It's the evidence is too obvious. Mm-hmm. Does it matter if Christ is an alien? Anybody with melanin is an alien. Anybody with a high level of eumelanin is an alien. Because we can go out. That's our, okay, think of it like this. If you can leave the earth after you depart your physical body into the cosmos and still keep your consciousness, and you can go to other galaxies, worlds, whatever, would you be considered extraterrestrial? Yes, you would, because you are no longer of the earth. But if you could not get out of the magnetic pull of the earth, of the solar frequency, because you weren't vibrating high enough as a frequency or a soul, or it couldn't leave the earth, then you would be earthbound. Okay, an earthbound spirit. So, but if you became a hybrid, you could leave. Okay. If you got the blood of a Christos being, you could leave. Well, I mean, why do you think they use these metaphors in the Bible? The blood of Jesus, that's the DNA. Go forth and multiply. Fill the earth. Man, you got to put it together. I know you're smarter than that. Right. Am I dressing up for Halloween? Yes. If James leave me, what would I do? Move on with my life? I don't know. But I don't think he's leaving me. Ever. I got money, baby, on my own. Now. Thanks to James. So, thanks to James for giving me the freedom to do what I do. I've earned a lot of money. So, I'm good. Yeah. When your man can benefit you and uplift you to a higher position than he found you, that's a good man. Okay. What if you were with the woman and you left her? What would she do? The same thing she was doing before she met you, probably. I mean, you don't benefit nothing. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Y'all know I have to troll him. Ooh, never mind. That's for another day. Okay, I'm going as a dark angel, like an angel with black wings. Yes. I have black feather wings. um, I don't really think I'm doing like I think we're just going trick or treating with Sasha's African friends and her family, and that's what we're gonna be doing. Mandy, FYI, we're going trick or treating. My nun. So yeah, Kanye's a genius. He's putting it out slowly. Before long, everybody's going to be doing it, and that's just going to be what it is. And then once the knowledge is out there, there's no denying it anymore. And by then, I'm pretty sure it'll be mainstream, and this will be old news, and people will be laughing at these videos. Oh, you're so outdated. We done figured it out now. So, what? You're going as a vampire witch? Wonderful. I was that one year, like maybe 4 years ago. How can it be demonic if demons are part of Christianity mythology? Yeah, I don't think anything is labeled good or evil because good means closer to God, evil means closer to death. That's what I'm saying. Like y'all think it to mean positive and negative. No, that's feminine and masculine. Good and evil is alive and dead. Okay. So a demon would be someone who, here's what I think. A demon would be someone who used to be melanated, died, and died and, needed to get back into a melanated body and had to be a certain blood type. You know what I mean? Think about it for a second. That's all I'm gonna say on that. Y'all gotta do y'all's research. Like, you gotta be a student of this stuff. You gotta just, if you have a passion for this information, become a student of it, and so much more will open up. Like Rihanna says, my constellation in space. Okay, on the Lemon song. So if your constellation is in space, and if you think back to the Bible, when King Solomon was asking each demon which constellation it was from, then you have to put one and two together. Okay, what is a demon? A demon is an extraterrestrial that is trapped here in a frequency that needs to be redeemed through a higher frequency. Like Sasha and I were talking about this today, like when they show those exorcist movies and people are getting possessed, these spirits are possessing certain people so that they can hitch a ride out, or just like on the movie Get Out, trying to experience a higher frequency and a communication line to the cosmos to plead their case. Read the book of Enoch. So if you were cursed for so many years and a lower frequency, and you had to wait your turn to be reborn through a certain blood type in a certain situation, da, 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 and your ego is so big, you had to be, you had to be perfect. You would be like just roaming the earth and as an energy, as a frequency, being mad and trying to get back into a familiar territory, which is a melanated body, or you would torture people for fun, or you would want to influence people until you finally got reborn into a body with a certain blood type and a certain frequency, then you would totally change because you got back to your throne. You know what I mean? Watch the Throne. That's the name of what was that JayZ and Kanye's album? Watch the Throne. That's what it means. So but see, when those so-called demons went through all of that and they got their chance to be redeemed, then they were. And that's it. End of story. Right. When you study multiple things and not just one thing, you have more knowledge. So people that only study the literal meaning of one thing will not have enough knowledge to fully understand certain things. That's why they have to go do more research. That's why some forms of religion that don't allow you to, get more knowledge, that's very limiting. Mhm. Age of Aquarius and era and review. Okay, so I was also reading because a lot of people ask me about necromancy and communicating with mediums and spirits and stuff like that. Is something in the Bible says that you will be cut off or something if you go and seek um, mediums and necromancers or something like that. Well, that means if you have eumelanin, you're talking to the eumelanated people on that verse, and you go to get advice from trapped spirits when you have the connection to the cosmos, that is an insult and you don't know who you are anymore. So you cut yourself off. You see? So you've cut yourself off. It's kind of like when you have your sunglasses on top of your head and you're looking for them. And then you find another pair of sunglasses and you put them on and you walk around looking like a fool with a pair of sunglasses on your head and one on your eye. So to me, those verses are for certain people. You have to be able to read into it. Hmm. How do you find out if you're RH negative? Blood test. Go give blood and they'll tell you. Or get a blood test. Thank you. Okay, so let me blow up my words because they're very small. Okay. Um, Thank you. I'm glad I'm more enlightened now to recognize demonic cults. Um, Here's my thing. The whole answer is for everybody to be on the same frequency. Okay, so there's this Michael Jackson song that says, "When all call, I will answer all your prayers." So when all call, when everyone is able to make that phone call, when everyone is able to match a certain frequency, everything will be as it should have been. You know what I'm saying? So when everyone is on the same accord, then everything will be to how it's supposed to be. Right. That's why we're in the time loop to get everyone on the same accord. Because right now on 3D Earth, we're vibrating on a third dimensional frequency. If everyone gets to a higher frequency, we will vibrate on a fourth and fifth and sixth dimensional frequency, because there's different levels of our frequencies, because there's different levels on the electromagnetic spectrum. So you have tan, brown, dark, black, brown, then these are the levels of the dimensions that the Earth will vibrate on. Right now, we're at a lower frequency because we have a lot of lower frequency people. Hi, Fosh. You want to say your first rap line? We wanted to hear it. Or you not
For
prepared?
which song?
Go practice it and come back. Yeah.
The first one?
Mm-hmm.
The start of it?
Uh-huh.
The code's getting clear.
Wait, hold on. Slow down so they can understand. Go ahead.
The code's getting clearer. The sun is getting nearer. Look at the bigger picture. It's time to stop dividing. It's time to be shining. So I got so far from the beginning. I don't want to spoil it all.
Oh,
But we started doing like
that's good.
We started doing more lines today.
Uh-huh.
One, I think like you ain't righteous, you're a crisis, not like Jesus Christ is. Something like that.
She came up with that at recess.
Yes. And science.
And in science class.
Mm-hmm.
Say that part again, Sasha.
You ain't righteous. You're a crisis, not like Jesus Christ is.
And
You want to come up? Want to just say like the first album name that we thought of?
no.
Okay, yeah, it's not. So we came up with
Blood on the moon. Blood on the moon.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Blood on the moon.
Yes. I'll say the first.
Tell them some more. Tell them the verse about the clothes. You in the present.
You ride with the goddess in the flesh. Now it's time to get some new clothes where you can look
the best. She said, okay, so you said ride. No, wait.
Ride on the track with the goddess in the flesh.
Hop on the track.
Hop on the track with the goddess in the flesh. Get some new clothes where you can dress the best.
And we did it to a Rick Ross beat too. So it has like that slow Rick Ross. And then what's the chorus?
'Cause we're running out of time. And then at the end it changes like 'cause we're all running out of toilet paper.
Tasha. She had to be silly at the end. Right. But when she finishes the song, we're probably gonna record it. Let her do it. Because she wrote that.
Wrote most of it, you helped.
I helped her put it in a better order. But she came up with all the code and the lyric.
Well, I private y'all. All these fools getting got.
Well, yeah, you wrote it down, but it's in the car. She wrote it, but it's in the car. Right. We're using this Rick Ross type beat when we do it. I will let y'all hear it. Would I disown my daughter if she was a homosexual? No, I would never disown anybody. Why would I she ain't a dog.
I'm a child.
Okay.
Why would you say that?
Exactly. I would never disown anybody. This is my child.
I could
I'll make it do what it do.
I'm just a child. I don't know what I am yet.
She's just a child. Why do adults want to put adult things in children's heads? That's sad.
Yeah.
She's just a child. She's a soul.
That's the soul.
She's pure soul.
I'm just a soul in a melanated body. I'm still righteous because I got the money on me. That's really funny. Shining like a new penny because I stayed wise. Because we knew we were running out of time. And you guys were running out of toilet paper. So you had to go to the store.
Sasha.
But then they were sold out. And then
what is toilet paper code for, Sasha? I don't know where you're going with that.
toilet paper is used
Toilet paper,
to go to the bathroom. And
I know what toilet paper is for, Sasha Curry.
Wipe and flush. Wiping and flushing.
I'm done. I'm done.
Used.
I'm gonna go away, Sasha. Bye. Bye.
But now toilet paper is way too popular now. Toilet paper is way too popular. We stopped using paper and started using toilet paper. Now toilet paper is a new trend. It's so trendy.
Yes, it sure is. Go bye.
Isn't it trendy?
Sasha, they asked what your name means. Go ahead and tell them.
Hero is me.
What was it?
Hero of men.
No, it
Defender of men.
Defender of man. Defender of mankind.
Yeah.
Sasha comes from Alexandria
Library.
Alexandria. And Sasha is short for Alexandria. Alexandria means defender of man.
Also, it's an ancient library.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Toilet paper.
Toilet paper's just a trend, you know? It's gonna get old one day. No one's gonna use it anymore.
Mm-hmm. They're saying your sister was born outside of marital bond.
What does that mean?
It means I had Layla before I was married. Nope. I needed that ring first, baby. You ain't taking me off the market until I got some money in my bank account, pocket, and diamonds on my fingers. Oh. I know my worth. So, they say you're so cute, Sasha. She probably right about 12. Okay, so you gotta come up with some nicer code than that. It's like disgusting. What are we gonna use instead?
We should use toilet paper.
Mm-mm.
Why?
Because no one think about that.
But toilet paper is a trend.
Trap, rap, or conscious. They both all have code in it. Conscious just doesn't have the code, but trap has code. So it depends on if you know the code. They're both conscious. Right. Let me blow this back up so I can read it.
Mommy going blind.
I'm going blind. No, it's just the screen is so, the words are so small, I have to blow it up. So yeah, what did you think about Kanye's album, Sasha?
I think it was good.
What was your favorite song on there?
I don't remember it. Water. Water. Yeah, it's water. Water's really good for you. No, get your body running. You can't live without it.
Oh, more than 70%.
more than 55 million% more. 50% more.
She was playing her Roblox when she was listening to it. So she only heard that one song, Salah, or was it? The one that talks about the wall, the gates. The blacks need to ditch names like Watermelon Melandria, and their employment prospects will improve exponentially. Or we can just own our own business and call it Watermelandria.
Watermelon.
How you doing?
How you
doing? Okay.
Me here? My
Look,
hair
Sasha.
is not slicked back enough for you.
No, she her hair was straight, and she said, I want my hair back curly because a bunch of people in her class got lice, and she's like, I ain't getting no lice. Lice don't like curly hair. So she went and got that spray bottle with the spray.
Oh, heck no.
She said,
I don't let no mini beans up in my hair. Oh, I don't want them little mutts laying eggs all up in my hair. I use product. I don't use oil from the kitchen. I use product.
She said, they don't like this kind of hair. Going back.
Oh, I say okay.
Okay, bye. I'm sorry, Sasha. So she did not want to catch lice, so she is keeping it like this. It's her defense. All right. What are you gonna be for Halloween, Sasha? They're asking.
A creepy dinosaur wind-up toy.
A creepy dinosaur wind-up toy.
It's like something that Sid would make from Toy Story. Like it would be like a dinosaur head on
a hybrid toy.
Yeah, a hybrid toy.
Yeah, Kanye made the most money in hip hop this year.
Oh my god! Why can't I get more money?
Joel, just finish your song. He might sign you, girl. He might sign you. We got connects. Mandy said we need jobs. I'm not teaching my children to work. I'm teaching them to be owners, darling. That's the difference. I'm not teaching my kids to work for anybody. I'm teaching them entrepreneurship.
You can be busy working your butt off, trying to, just like scared of losing your job every single day because you ain't no boss.
I ain't waking up with that anxiety. Am I gonna lose my job today?
Oh no, did I forget to write the papers? Oh my god, I'm gonna get fired. No, I am boss. If I forget something, I can't fire myself. Okay.
You're just gonna collect the money still.
Okay, Mandy.
Mandy, we ain't gonna work for nobody. Don't worry about it.
The people be working for me.
Okay.
These brainwashed people be working for me.
So her name can be Watermelandria because she gonna work for herself.
So you can be busy having all that anxiety by saying, "Oh, I forgot to do this when you fire me."
Girl, you could sleep late or get up early, extra early. You can show up early or late. It's your choice. I don't teach them to let other people control their lives.
I don't. Okay, this is what I don't do. Since there's this world full of greedy people, I don't. Okay, I already have a lot more years to go of school, and then you were thinking I should go to college for more years, which makes a lot more of my time, and then go get a job, which I would have to work for a lot, unless I'm not trophy wife, which I'm not.
You'll have your own business.
Probably
and probably.
And then when I finally die, I'd be like, that was not worth it. That was not worth it at all. I I could have been.
You could have been
I could have been selling something I liked. I could have been doing something I liked with my life instead of wishing for stuff and saying, "Oh, I want to be this when I grow up. Oh, I want to be that when I grow up." You don't even have to grow up to be whoever you want to be.
Right. By the time someone, she's naturally creative, so she's gonna probably be prospering as soon as she's done. As soon as she opens her little business,
They're telling me
she'll
to
be
go to bed.
prospering.
They're telling me to go to bed. My dream is to wake up.
You're too woke to sleep. Bye.
I'm too woke to sleep. You're sleeping all day like Sleeping Beauty.
Mm-hmm. Go write some more lyrics and come back. Or go get your notebook and write some lyrics. What are your thoughts on the moon landing and a flat Earth? We landed on the moon. Who did we? We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Malcolm X. Earth is a frequency. This three-dimensional Earth is a frequency. So if you live on two-dimensional Earth, then it is flat. If you live on three-dimensional Earth, that means there's a sky. So it could still be pretty much flat.
I was thinking of something.
But when you live on fourth-dimensional Earth and sixth-dimensional Earth, then everything changes. So
Mama,
which dimension do you love?
What if we're hybrids of dinosaurs when like that asteroid hit? What if we are descendants of it? Well, that's why I look like a dinosaur.
The birds turned into dinosaurs. The dinosaurs turned into birds.
Oh.
Sorry.
I look like a dinosaur now.
You don't look like a dinosaur. You look like a Sasha. Okay, so calling out sin is our duty as Bible-believing Christians. Mandy says she's calling out sin.
What?
Mandy says she's calling out sin.
Sin?
You know what calling out sin means?
What?
Tell her what calling out sin means.
Sin, like, what's a sin?
You remember what I told you the word sin?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Okay. Well, she's still learning. We said it was the color of the moon. Pale like the moon. Mm-hmm. So sin would be calling out. We need to. Well, Kanye says it good in the song "Water." We need to take the chlorine out of conversation.
Take all your lies.
We need to take the chlorine bleach out of conversation. Word.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
She usually goes like
code.
She'd be like word.
People say, "Oh, he's crazy. He's talking about taking the chlorine out of conversation." What does that mean? It means taking the bleach out of the word. That's what that means.
He puts his music in so much code that you don't even understand what it's saying anymore.
Yeah, I just think he's crazy, but he's crazy like a genius.
Like Einstein.
Take the chlorine out of conversation. That's what he's trying to tell y'all. Man.
I just have a really stray scalp.
Mm-hmm. What? They've mandated the flu vaccine and your ER. I'm getting vaccinated. I'm not getting vaccinated. My coworkers did. I'm the only one who hasn't. You're contemplating your next move. Bro, don't get no vaccinations and stuff. You don't know what's in that
stuff. I haven't got a vaccination since.
Don't get that stuff.
I haven't had a vaccination in my life, I think.
Why are they doing that? Like, to those, like, she's a nurse, I think, or she works in an ER, and they force them to get those vaccines. I lie. I'll give me some fake documents. Uh-huh. You have to. Are Are those vaccinations necessary if you travel to Africa? Or are they optional? I think some of them are optional. It's mandatory where I work. See, that's why I can't work for nobody. That ain't freedom. If you have to depend on, somebody else for your livelihood and you're forced to be injected with something, that's not freedom.
Oh my lord.
That's why it's important for y'all to start owning your own business. Figure out how to make money without having to do all of that. That's crazy to me. Okay. Bye, Sash. She says bye, y'all. Nobody's going to determine that for me. I'm like, look. Will Kanye be our next president? No. No, not at all. I told y'all Donald Trump is not who you think he is. Okay. Sure, did you hear about the nurse who came out and said NRC5 vaccine contained aborted fetal matter? Thank you, Marion, for telling me that. No, I think I've heard that, and I'm sure a lot of it does because they use the stem cells and they're trying to, like Kanye says in that one interview, and they're trying to find the seed to get the right color, to get the right dye, to see if you can inject it in this and see how the color comes out. He's talking about eumelanated fetus matter being given to people and through their stem cells to see if it will help them, ascend. They've been putting it in soft drinks and different foods as an experiment on us to see if people can get in or out, you know what I'm saying? Through genetic manipulation, through science experiments, but nothing is working. Nothing is working. The only thing that's going to work is to be reborn into the correct frequency. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure people have been eating it or being injected with it unknowingly. You said Trump is a fraud. Of course he's a fraud. That's his job. Of course. Can't play checkers. You got to play chess, baby. He's a fraud as to what y'all think he represents. Right. Donald Trump really works for something else, not who y'all think he worked for. That's all I'm gonna say. He works for something else. So anyway. Tasha back there playing Michael Jackson, trying to lure me out. Sure, now it makes sense why the religious cults promote mass suicide. Free ride. This is stolen land. Okay, yeah. Someone asked me to decode something that really matters, like in the comments on my last post on the community section, and talking about some type of November 3rd false something, and something about Oregon or Seattle. I don't know. I told y'all a couple of months ago, maybe years ago, that that whole West Coast is, not going to be what it is right now. That's what Kanye is moving to. Was it Wyoming? Okay, like that's why they keep doing all these things so to get people to slowly move out, so that a lot of people don't have to be in the vicinity of when things go down. So, right, the West Coast has been canceled by the elite. Right, Mia Money is about to go down. Now, right, California is a sacrifice for the frequency. hmm Um, Remember that video with Tupac and Dr. Dre? California knows how to party. Go watch that. It's post-apocalyptic. The post-apocalyptic video. That's code right there. Um, hmm Mad Max. Kill Illuminati. Right, right. So, right. What will happen to Cali? It's going like California is a lot of deserts and mountains, right? Where there's a lot of deserts, there used to be water. There's the magnetic poles are shifting, and when that happens, and the polar caps are melting, and the Earth's mantle, the Earth's core is heating up, which helps, with the earthquakes and the lands shifting. So California is on faults, and it's just in a bad place for a pole shift. How about that? It's just in a really bad place for a magnetic pole shift at this time. Like, if you're a scientist, you're not living in California, understanding what's going on with the magnetic um, field right now. So, right. Mandy Lynn says, why do black women worship black men that sell them out? I think no one worships anybody. I think they probably just um, are more loyal than most people. And I feel that if you want one, Mandy, there are plenty of them in here that will be willing maybe to be your personal Jesus Christ and Savior. I don't know what she's trying to. She's trying to stir the pot so she can get her a man. Right? Mhm. Mandy, if you want one, just say so, baby. Okay. I'm not obsessed with any people, least of all black, but you hear all the time. Yes, you are. You deep down inside, you know you are. You know the truth. Thank you, Deanna Joelle. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So, an hour of your day is nothing. Exactly. You could be reading your Bible right now, not understanding it, but you're here with us, so you can understand certain things. You're welcome. Your frequency is higher here than it is when you go to your church, ain't it, Mandy? Don't worry, I know it's true. Your frequency is higher here on this live feed over YouTube than it is when you go into your own church. That's why you keep coming back. Anyway, where's the last time you made chili with extra meat? Never. I don't eat meat anymore. But I did make some vegan gumbo that was very good. The kids ate it all. Okay, my thoughts on astral projection. Um, what do you mean my thought? That's so old school. Like everybody has an astral body. The Ba, the Ka, and the Ak. Go study ancient Egypt. The astral body is, your astral self, like when you can remote travel. hmm There's three aspects of the soul. Right. So is alchemy in any way spiritual? Yes. Alchemy is science, spirituality, and philosophy as one. They separated it and took it apart. That's why when the ancients studied science, philosophy, magic, and hermetic knowledge, they studied alchemy. And then it was broken apart and taught separately, which is why it's not as powerful as it used to be because people don't understand what it really is. Thank you. I got a donation. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Demiana, thank you. I appreciate that. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Um, I don't believe in interracial marriage or interracial adoption. Then you don't believe in getting the blood of Jesus, then, Mandy. So your version of Jesus is the flipped version. You know what I'm saying? The only reason you don't believe in interracial marriage is because the Bible told you that it was wrong to mix races because it's being told from a melanated perspective. And since they flipped the image of your Jesus, now you think white people aren't supposed to mix, but it's coming from a melanated perspective. So we're not supposed to mix with you guys. The reason why Jesus is your personal savior is because he was kind enough to give you some of his DNA so you can get some melanin so you can get up out of here. Okay. So a lot of people think, well, if I mix and I'm melanated, then I'm going to weaken my DNA. You will. But there are some people who have a kind heart that is willing to share. And Mandy is turning her nose up at it as if it's something wrong because she's reading everything from the wrong perspective because they flipped her image of Jesus, which is now why she is so confused and stuck up in here every night instead of in her Bible or at church. I just gave you the information, Mandy. Go do it with you what you will. Okay? So when you read the Bible, read it from a colored, as you would call it, person's perspective. Okay, we're not supposed to mix with y'all. The reason why we were brought here to America and gave you mercy, Lamborghini Mercy, yo chick, she's so thirsty. In that two-seat Lambo, she trying to jerk me. Okay. So that's what that song means, by the way. Like getting my come and meet me in the bathroom stall and tell me why you deserve to have it all. That's what he's meaning. Like, so Mandy, we're not supposed to mix with y'all. You got it twisted. So, right. But some will and give the gift to others out of love and kindness and whatever reason. But some won't. Right. Beginner book is for alchemy, Complete Idiot's Guide to Alchemy. You can order that on like Amazon. Right. But I think most people understand that the there are different perspectives in the Bible if they understand code. Mhm. When they flip the image of Jesus, that's when people thought that they were um, Christ-like when they weren't. I think that was a dirty trick. Whoever did that was dirty. Like, why would they do that to their own people though? That just messed up. Maybe they didn't do it. Maybe I don't know. You never know because we have trickster energy over here. So that's wrong. Your own people tricked you. You need to be mad. So according to Mandy, Jesus is white, and then he's going to come back and save all the people who are Christ-like. So, Mandy, what if Jesus came back on a cloud and he was black? What would you do? Just what if he was black and his name was Jesus Watermelandria Christ? Look, I'm just asking her just to see what would happen. I can't ask these questions to people next door or the other way. I'm just saying because she thinks he is. So I'm asking her, what would she do? I'm glad I'm not black. I'm glad I'm not named Watermelon. So you would tell Jesus that you're glad you're not black and that you're glad your name is not Watermelon. Wonderful. That's what she said she would say. She would tell black Jesus that she glad she ain't black. That's wonderful, Mandy. At least you'll be honest. You can't get you for lying. Okay. But you won't be joining him since you're not Christ-like. Right. Um, well, it would. Hey, Sasha, are you in there? I gotta wrap this up, but thank y'all for tuning in. Mandy, thank you for joining us tonight. I know this raises your frequency way more than your church. You have to ask yourself why. And we'll see y'all later. Thank y'all for everybody who donated. I appreciate that. Thank y'all for everybody who asked good questions and who listen with open ears and open mind. And those who aren't easily triggered, thank you for being in control of your emotions. And, that's what your higher self is capable of. All right. You can visit lower frequencies and still rise. Brown Skin Girl has the answer to that on the gift. She's falling slowly. That means she's falling slowly. Decode that. If you were at the height and you were going to fall, how would you fall? You'd have to introduce something to your DNA each time you were reborn, right? You'd have to mix out. So you can rise and fall as many times as you want, as long as you know how to rise. See, a lot of cultures keep that in their culture. They will marry black ever so often, they will introduce a melanated person into their family to keep that melanin, like the royal family. Ever so often, especially with Jewish people, they will marry the darkest black woman they can find, have some kids, and keep that melanin going because they want to keep that connection. They want to keep that frequency. So, and some it's sad that some of the people don't even know why these Jewish men are trying to marry them. Oh, I just got me a richer Jewish man. Oh, yeah, it's about that time. They it's about that time. So, yep. But anyway, gotta go. See y'all later. Bye.